At 70 years of age, life becomes quieter, not in the sense that there is less to do, but in the way you begin to hear the subtle music beneath all the doing. The noise of urgency fades, and you start to notice the soft hum of existence. What used to be overlooked, like the way the sunlight rests on a bowl or the slight scent of something freshly prepared, becomes part of a living tapestry. When I speak about the 4 yogurts that have become part of my daily rhythm, I am not speaking only about food. I am speaking about awareness, about choosing what enters not just the body, but also the mind and the energy field you carry. I have found that how I nourish myself is no longer a casual act. It is a form of listening to the body's quiet requests, a way of honoring the temple that has carried me through decades. There was a time when I ate without presence, consuming in the same way one scrolls through endless pages, never stopping to truly taste, but the years and the aches have their own teachings. Arthritis, in its own strange way, has been a gentle teacher. It has slowed my steps, not out of cruelty, but to make me see what I was rushing past. It has asked me to choose what eases the joints, what strengthens the muscles, what helps the body move without pain, and to give my attention fully to that. And so these 4 yogurts entered my life, not as a medical prescription, not as a trend, but as a quiet alignment between what the body asks for and what the soul finds joy in giving. To listen to the body's quiet requests is to shift from a life of unconscious consumption into a life of conscious presence. The body has always been speaking, but most of us only hear it when it begins to shout through pain, fatigue, or illness. Long before arthritis stiffens the joints or weakness settles into the muscles, the body has been whispering. It speaks in subtle ways. A heaviness after a certain meal, a lightness after another, a sudden craving for something fresh, or an instinct to drink more water. These whispers are often drowned out by the noise of modern life, the quick pace, the screens, the constant distractions. To begin truly listening requires slowing down enough to notice these small signals without judgment or the urge to override them with habit. When we are young, it is easy to ignore these cues. The body is forgiving, absorbing the impact of late nights, skipped meals, or the careless intake of foods that offer little real nourishment. But as the years pass, that forgiveness lessens, not because the body has become weak, but because it is inviting us to a deeper relationship. The aches, the reduced stamina, the changes in digestion are not punishments. They are invitations. They are the body saying, "Be with me now. Notice me. Care for me with intention." And in learning to listen, we discover that nourishment is not simply about calories or nutrients. It is about the energy and awareness we bring to what we choose to consume. Nourishing the body with presence means no longer eating as if it were just another task to check off. It means setting aside the urge to eat while distracted scrolling or rushing from one responsibility to the next. Instead, it is about making space for the act of eating itself, feeling the texture of the food, sensing its temperature, observing how the flavors change as they move across the tongue, and noticing the subtle shifts in how the body receives them. This is a form of respect both for the food and for the body that will transform it into movement, thought, and life itself. When the body asks for nourishment, it is rarely asking for excess. It does not require us to overwhelm it with large portions or rich, complex meals. Often the request is for something simple, something pure, something that brings balance rather than strain. The body, in its natural wisdom, leans toward harmony. It knows which foods will ease inflammation, which will strengthen the bones, which will keep the digestive system calm and steady. Our role is not to impose our desires on it, but to learn from it, to trust that its requests are grounded in a knowledge older and deeper than any diet trend. There is a certain humility that comes with following these quiet cues. It means letting go of the idea that the mind always knows best. It means releasing rigid rules about what we should eat and instead tuning in to what feels aligned in the present moment. Sometimes that will mean choosing foods rich in color and vitality. Other times it will mean something warm and grounding. It is not about perfection, but about responsiveness, a willingness to meet the body where it is, day by day, meal by meal. This kind of listening also changes the way we shop, the way we prepare food, even the way we store it. The kitchen becomes less of a place for quick fixes and more of a space for intention. We begin to notice the quality of ingredients, the freshness, the origins. We might choose local produce not because it is fashionable, but because it feels alive in a way that supports our own aliveness. We may select yogurt made with care, not stripped of its natural qualities, because we can feel the difference it makes within us. Over time, this practice of listening and nourishing becomes second nature. We no longer need to debate endlessly about what is healthy or unhealthy, because the body tells us a meal that leaves us feeling light, steady, and energized is clearly serving us. A meal that leaves us heavy, bloated, or restless is clearly asking for reconsideration. The feedback is instant if we are present enough to notice. And with this awareness, our relationship with food transforms from a mechanical act into a living dialogue, a conversation that deepens with each passing year. Beginning the day with plain, probiotic, rich yogurt is more than a nutritional choice. It is a way of setting the tone for the hours ahead. The first thing we give our body each morning carries a certain influence, shaping how our digestion energy and mood will unfold. Plain yogurt without added sugars or artificial flavors offers a kind of simplicity that aligns with the body's natural rhythm after a night of rest. The mild tang, the cool texture, the smooth consistency, all of it signals to the body that nourishment is arriving in a form it can easily welcome. It is not an assault on the senses, but a gentle awakening. Probiotics are often spoken of in scientific terms, strains of beneficial bacteria that improve gut health, balance the microbiome, and support immunity. Yet beyond these measurable effects, there is something almost symbolic about consuming millions of living cultures at the start of the day. They enter quietly, without force, and begin their work of restoring harmony within. They do not demand attention or praise. They simply do what they are meant to do, maintaining balance in a system that is constantly shifting. In this way, they mirror the qualities we might aspire to carry into the day: quiet effectiveness, steady presence, and the ability to create balance without struggle. Plain yogurt also offers high-quality protein, which in the morning is like laying down a strong foundation before building the structure of the day. Protein supports muscle maintenance, which becomes increasingly important as the years pass, and provides a slow, sustained release of energy. Unlike the spike and crash that can follow a sugary breakfast, yogurt gives the body what it needs without flooding it with excess. The calcium within it fortifies the bones, a silent but essential gift for those who wish to move through the day with stability and confidence. Eating this first meal without distraction deepens its effect. Sitting with a small bowl of plain yogurt, one can notice how the flavor evolves with each spoonful, how the body begins to wake not just through caffeine or activity, but through real nourishment. The stillness of this act has its own value. It gives the mind a chance to align with the body before the pace of the day accelerates. It reminds us that eating is not merely a means of filling the stomach, but a form of communication with the self, a way of saying, I will start today with care. For those living with arthritis or other inflammatory conditions, starting the day with yogurt can be a small but steady way of reducing discomfort. The probiotics help regulate digestion, which in turn influences inflammation levels throughout the body. A calm digestive system supports a calm nervous system, and both of these systems affect how pain is experienced. When the gut is in balance, the body can allocate its energy toward healing and movement rather than constant repair. This is why a simple, probiotic-rich food at the start of the day can feel like more than just breakfast. It can feel like an act of alignment between the body's inner systems. The neutrality of plain yogurt also makes it adaptable. Some mornings it might be taken as it is, cool and unadorned, allowing the body to receive its pure form. Other mornings it can be paired with fresh fruit for added antioxidants, or a drizzle of honey for gentle sweetness that does not overwhelm. The point is not to mask the yogurt's simplicity, but to allow it to be the base upon which small, thoughtful variations are added. This flexibility means that it can meet the needs of different mornings without losing its grounding effect. When beginning the day in this way, there is also a psychological benefit. There is a sense of starting on a path of clarity rather than chaos. This small, intentional choice at the beginning can subtly influence later choices, creating a momentum of mindful eating throughout the day. When the first food is wholesome and deliberate, it is easier to notice when later options feel out of alignment with that intention. The morning yogurt becomes a quiet anchor, something the body and mind can return to as the day unfolds. In its unassuming way, plain probiotic, rich yogurt teaches that the start of the day does not need to be loud or complicated to be powerful. It shows that the body responds well to consistency, to nourishment that is both grounding and gentle, to beginnings that respect its needs rather than overwhelm them. And over time, this simple act of starting with something so pure can become a source of strength, stability, and quiet joy. Midday often arrives with its own particular energy. The body has been moving, thinking, and responding to the demands of the morning, and a subtle fatigue begins to make itself known. For those living with joint discomfort, it is sometimes the moment when stiffness creeps in more noticeably, when the muscles begin to ask for renewal. It is here that a yogurt blended with honey and berries becomes not only food, but a reminder of balance, a balance between nourishment and pleasure, between the functional and the delightful. Honey is more than a source of sweetness. It is a living substance created through the work of bees who have traveled from flower to flower, collecting nectar and transforming it into something entirely new. Each spoonful carries the memory of blossoms, the warmth of sunlight, and the tireless collaboration of nature. Taken in moderation, honey offers gentle energy without the harsh spike that refined sugars bring. It contains trace minerals, enzymes, and antioxidants that contribute to overall vitality. For someone managing inflammation, its natural compounds can help soothe rather than aggravate, offering sweetness without the cost of imbalance. Berries, with their deep reds, blues, and purples, are not just pleasing to the eye, they signal the presence of powerful antioxidants. Blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, and blackberries all contain compounds that help reduce oxidative stress in the body, a process closely linked to inflammation and joint discomfort. Their natural sweetness complements the tang of yogurt while adding a refreshing brightness to the palate. Each berry carries within it the story of its growth, the rainfall it received, the soil that fed it, the sunlight that ripened it, and when eaten with awareness, they can become more than just fruit. They can become a way of receiving the energy of the natural world in a concentrated, living form. When honey and berries are folded into yogurt, the experience changes. The yogurt's creaminess softens the tartness of the fruit, while the fruit lifts the yogurt's flavor into something more vibrant. The honey threads through it all, binding the elements together with a delicate sweetness. This combination provides a range of benefits. The probiotics from the yogurt continue their quiet work in the gut. The protein supports the muscles. The calcium strengthens the bones. And the phytonutrients from the berries contribute to reducing inflammation. It is not only a meal for the taste buds, but also for the joints, the heart, and the immune system. Eating this midday yogurt slowly transforms it from a snack into a pause, a deliberate step back from the momentum of the day. The act of preparing it can be as restorative as the eating itself, washing the berries, feeling their coolness, noticing their shapes and colors, drizzling the honey with intention. These small moments create a sense of presence that interrupts the rush of thought. It becomes a moment to recenter, to step out of the constant stream of doing and into the simple act of being. There is also a subtle emotional effect in choosing something naturally sweet in the middle of the day. It reminds the mind and body that sweetness does not have to be excessive to be satisfying. It is a lesson in moderation, in finding joy in just enough. For someone living with arthritis, where certain indulgences might trigger flare-ups, this kind of mindful sweetness becomes a way to participate in pleasure without compromising well-being. The anti-inflammatory properties of berries work quietly over time, reducing the background noise of discomfort that can make daily movement more difficult. The antioxidants help protect the body from cellular damage, which becomes increasingly important as the years go by. Combined with the steady nourishment of yogurt and the gentle energy of honey, this midday meal can become a cornerstone of joint care and overall vitality. The sensory qualities of this combination are as important as the nutritional ones. The softness of the yogurt, the burst of juice from the berries, the slow dissolve of honey on the tongue, all of it invites attention. Eating becomes not just about filling a need, but about participating fully in the moment. When the focus shifts from simply consuming to truly experiencing, the meal becomes a bridge back to the present, carrying with it the kind of renewal that cannot be measured only in calories or nutrients. By making this part of the daily rhythm, the midday yogurt with honey and berries becomes more than just food. It becomes a small ritual of gratitude for the body's continued movement, for the day's unfolding, and for the quiet collaboration between nature and nourishment. It offers strength without heaviness, pleasure without excess, and a gentle reminder that caring for oneself can be as simple as honoring the body's needs with something both healing and joyful. Late afternoon often carries with it a particular stillness, though it is a stillness tinged with fatigue. The body has been upright and active for hours, and a certain heaviness can begin to settle in the muscles and joints. This is the time when energy tends to waver, and for those seeking to maintain strength and mobility, it becomes a crucial moment to offer the body something sustaining. A yogurt stirred with chia seeds, flax seeds, and a scattering of crushed almonds is both a physical support and a reminder of the quiet resilience found in small, unassuming forms. Seeds are remarkable in their simplicity. A single chia seed, no larger than a grain of sand, carries within it the complete blueprint for life. a capacity to sprout roots, grow stems, and eventually bear fruit. When stirred into yogurt, these seeds begin to soften and swell, absorbing the surrounding liquid until they are transformed into something plump and tender. In this slow expansion lies a lesson in patience. They do not rush to change. They take the time they need. In a similar way, the body's healing and strengthening processes cannot be forced. They unfold steadily when given the right conditions. Chia and flax seeds are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which play a key role in reducing inflammation. For joints that ache or swell, these healthy fats act as a gentle balm, supporting mobility and easing discomfort over time. They also offer plant-based protein, fiber for digestive balance, and minerals that contribute to bone health. Almonds, crushed lightly before being added, bring their own benefits: vitamin E for cell protection, magnesium for muscle function, and a satisfying texture that turns each bite into something engaging. Yogurt serves as the foundation, providing probiotics for gut health, protein for muscle maintenance, and calcium for bone density. Together, these ingredients form a meal that addresses multiple aspects of physical well-being at once. But beyond their nutritional profile, they invite presence. The process of sprinkling seeds, watching them disappear into the creamy surface, stirring them slowly, and feeling the texture change under the spoon, is a small act of mindfulness. It shifts eating from something mechanical into something attentive. Late afternoon eating is often unconscious, grabbing a quick snack to push through the final hours of the day, reaching for something sugary or processed to create a burst of energy. But such bursts are short-lived, often followed by a deeper slump. In contrast, this yogurt with seeds and almonds offers steady energy, avoiding the highs and lows that can leave the mind foggy and the body sluggish. The fiber slows digestion, the protein sustains energy, and the healthy fats provide a sense of satiety that carries through until the next meal. For those living with arthritis or simply wishing to keep the body strong in later years, this steadying effect is important. Energy that does not spike and crash allows for better movement, clearer thought, and a calmer emotional state. When the body is not distracted by rapid shifts in blood sugar, it can devote its resources to repair and maintenance. The nutrients in the seeds and almonds also work long after the meal is finished, feeding processes that strengthen muscles, protect cartilage, and maintain joint flexibility. There is something grounding about this combination. The yogurt comes from milk, which is itself a concentrated form of nourishment. The seeds represent potential, life that has not yet unfolded but is ready to grow. The almonds, grown slowly in sunlit orchards, carry the weight of seasons within them. Eating them together feels like drawing on multiple layers of the earth's generosity, a blend of animal and plant nourishment, of present vitality and future promise. Even the act of chewing the almonds, among the smoothness of the yogurt and the slight resistance of the seeds, keeps the mind engaged in the experience. It is difficult to eat such a combination mindlessly. The textures ask for attention, and in giving that attention, the mind rests from the swirl of thoughts that often dominates the latter part of the day. The meal becomes a pause, not just for the body, but for the mind as well. Making this part of the daily rhythm builds a quiet consistency. The body comes to expect it, and in that expectation there is a sense of stability. Nutrients accumulate, inflammation is gradually reduced, muscles stay supported, and energy flows more evenly. Over time, this simple late afternoon yogurt can become a keystone habit, small in appearance, but powerful in its ability to sustain strength and ease into the later hours of the day. Evening arrives with a softness that is different from any other part of the day. The body, having carried the weight of hours filled with movement, thought and decision, begins to release its grip. It is during this transition from activity to rest that the final meal or drink can hold great influence over how the night will unfold. A warm yogurt gently whisked into a light soup with turmeric, cinnamon, and ginger offers more than flavor. It becomes an act of preparation, signaling to the body that it is safe to rest and repair. Warmth in food has a unique way of calming the body. Heat relaxes muscles, soothes the digestive system, and invites a sense of comfort that is both physical and emotional. When yogurt, usually served cold, is incorporated gently into a warm mixture, it changes character. The tang softens, the texture becomes velvety, and the body receives it not as something stimulating, but as something grounding. This gentle warmth makes it ideal for evenings, when the goal is no longer to energize, but to nourish and settle. Turmeric, with its golden hue, carries within it the compound curcumin, known for its anti-inflammatory properties. For those managing arthritis or other chronic joint discomforts, it acts like a quiet healer, moving through the body to calm the subtle fires of inflammation that can make movement painful. Cinnamon brings its own set of benefits, helping to regulate blood sugar levels, which can be particularly important at night when large fluctuations can disturb sleep. Ginger adds a layer of warmth and subtle spice, aiding digestion and increasing circulation, which can help loosen stiffness in the joints before bed. The process of making this warm yogurt drink or soup is itself a form of unwinding. Measuring the spices, whisking them into a small pot of warm liquid, watching the color deepen, it is slow work, and that slowness is part of the medicine. It draws attention away from the day's lingering thoughts and towards something immediate and tangible. The scent of turmeric and cinnamon rye rising from the pot creates a sensory bridge into the evening, marking the shift from doing to simply being. The nutritional profile of this preparation supports the body's needs at night. The protein in the yogurt aids in muscle repair while you sleep. The calcium supports bone health, and the probiotics maintain digestive balance. The warmth assists in the absorption of these nutrients, and the spices work synergistically to reduce inflammation and promote relaxation. Unlike heavier evening meals that can burden the digestive system, this light preparation offers enough sustenance to satisfy without creating heaviness. There is also a psychological ease that comes from ending the day with something intentionally prepared and gently flavored. In the quiet of evening, flavors seem more pronounced, and the act of tasting becomes a meditation. Each sip encourages slower breathing, a deeper settling into the present moment, and a quiet letting go of the day's tensions. The hands warm against the bowl or cup, the aroma rises with each breath, and the body begins to associate this ritual with rest. For someone managing arthritis, nighttime can be a challenging period. Stiffness often sets in after hours of stillness, and inflammation can sometimes increase at the end of the day. The anti-inflammatory properties of turmeric and ginger, combined with the calming effect of cinnamon, work through the night, helping to ease discomfort before it has a chance to intensify. Over time, the body begins to anticipate this care, and the ritual becomes as much about reassurance as it is about nutrition. This warm yogurt preparation also creates an intentional close to eating for the day. Instead of ending with something overly sweet or heavy, which can disrupt sleep and digestion, the body is given something soothing and functional. The flavors are comforting without overstimulating, and the portion can be as small or as generous as the body requires in that moment. In this way, It respects the natural slowing down that evening invites, supporting the transition into rest, not just for the body, but for the mind as well. The repetition of such a ritual builds a rhythm that the body comes to trust. The warmth signals safety, the spices bring healing, and the yogurt provides gentle nourishment. Over weeks and months, this simple act can become an anchor in the evening, a quiet assurance that the day is ending with care and that the body will be supported through the night ahead. Eating with awareness turns food from a mere necessity into a living ritual, one that nourishes not just the body, but the deeper layers of being. Most people move through meals on autopilot, chewing while distracted by a screen, rushing between tasks, or eating simply to quiet hunger without ever really tasting what is before them. When eating is approached without presence, the experience is diminished. The body may receive nutrients, but the mind and spirit remain untouched. Awareness changes this completely. It invites us to experience food with the same attentiveness we might give to a conversation with someone we love or to a moment of stillness in nature. Awareness begins before the first bite. It starts in the moment of choosing what to eat, in the simple act of pausing to ask, what does my body need right now? This question is not about craving or habit, but about listening to the signals that the body is constantly sending. Sometimes it will call for something warming and soft, other times for something fresh and crisp. This act of listening deepens the connection between mind and body, reminding us that eating is not separate from health, energy, or emotional well-being. When the food is before you, awareness means noticing its colors, its textures, its scent. It means taking in the fullness of the moment before the fork or spoon even touches your mouth. This small pause is not a delay, but an honoring, a recognition that what you are about to receive has been shaped by many forces. The earth, the weather, the people who planted and harvested, the journey it took to reach you. In this way, even something as humble as yogurt carries within it an entire web of life. As you eat, awareness is found in slowing down. Chewing becomes an act of participation rather than a mechanical step between bite and swallow. You begin to notice how the food changes in the mouth, how different flavors appear and fade, how textures shift. You may feel how your body responds, how a certain food feels cooling or warming, how it creates lightness or heaviness, how it calms or energizes. These observations are not judgments but information, helping you understand the unique way your body communicates. Awareness also extends to the point when you feel satisfied, not just full. Many eat until they can eat no more, mistaking fullness for the goal. But true nourishment often comes from stopping just before that point, when the body feels replenished without being burdened. By eating with attention, it becomes easier to sense this subtle line, and meals leave you feeling energized rather than sluggish. This kind of mindful eating has a profound effect on health over time. Digestion improves because the body is not forced to process large amounts of food taken in haste. Nutrients are absorbed more efficiently because chewing is thorough and the nervous system is in a relaxed state rather than in fight or flight. The body is better able to signal what it needs and what it does not, reducing the likelihood of eating foods that inflame or exhaust it. For those managing chronic conditions such as arthritis, this can make a noticeable difference, as the body thrives when it is not burdened by unnecessary stress. Beyond the physical benefits, eating with awareness nourishes a sense of gratitude. You begin to see food not as something to be conquered or controlled, but as something to be in relationship with. Each meal becomes an opportunity to connect with the present moment, to recognize the abundance that exists in even the simplest ingredients. This gratitude naturally spills into other areas of life, creating a more patient, attentive, and grounded way of being. Over time, awareness transforms eating into a daily ritual of connection and healing. Whether it is a simple bowl of plain yogurt, a colorful mixture of fruit, or a warm, spiced preparation, the food becomes more than the sum of its nutrients. It becomes an anchor in the day, a place to return to presence again and again. In this way, eating is no longer something that just happens. It becomes an act of care, of listening, and of participating fully in the unfolding of each moment.